The video just cut out previously there. Continuing on. And additionally, to bring on any evidence that you have in support of your position. So I continue on. I say, look, you could utilize any method you'd like to address this. However, the best recommended, and I'm sure people and women and mothers who are watching this are going, oh, come on, lady, can't you wake up and see what the hell you're doing? That you even brought your son to this point that he has to talk to you like a fucking lawyer only shows how defensive he's gotten because you brought him this far along to become this defensive about you, about how he's to deal with you. So what have you done? These mothers might wonder. Good mothers, good people, good human beings, empathic women, all across the board even, who are watching this going, what the fuck did this mother do to like damage this son this much? Obviously, you kind of see it's not it's kind of dysfunctional to be talking like this, but this isn't the cause. This isn't the origination of the dysfunction. This is the effect of dysfunction being placed on me and observing the effect. Now remember, guys, if you see a plant in the garden that's been underwatered such that they formed up incorrectly and they're dry and all fucked up, and then they've continued to grow in dysfunctional ways because at the earlier formative stages they weren't given enough water, and they're still not given enough water in a compensatory way, which at least halfway helps when you're at later stages in life. So it's all fucked up and crooked and dry, and you see there's just an insufficient frequency of the watering and nurturing there, or not being exposed to enough sunlight, or a combination, bad fertilizer, who knows. You don't blame the plant for being fucked up. You understand that? It's not the plant's fault he didn't grow correctly, because you don't know that if you reversed the reel, swapped out the caretakers and gave better input with more correct emotional nourishment and other types of correct things, this person wouldn't have been raised up to end up having the best fucking plant in the garden. There's no way of knowing this, but you can only assume. Obviously, we see that there definitely is a lack of correct yin energy, nourishing, healthy, motherly dynamics towards the son. Anyone could see, yeah, when you do that to a man as he's growing up, now he's going to act like this to you now instead of easy and loving. And just like respect is the form of gasoline that goes into our tank to fuel us, love is the respect that goes into the women's tanks to liven their lives up. The men who are not given respect don't give back loving behavior. If you don't put the quarter in the gumball machine, it doesn't put out any gumballs for you. It's that easy. And intuitive women kind of know this. They're kind of like, yeah, it's kind of obvious. So you always look at the source of the origination. However, the best recommended method is to, what did I say? And keep track of it, that this is where I said it, all the way back in January. The best recommended method is to sit down in person. You're going to see in the future, because this is already February now, I'm analyzing back a month back. There's been more text that you're going to see in a follow-up video, as I'm uploading these in a certain order. You're going to see somebody say, oh, doing in a different way, not in person, that's better. Uh-huh. I'm not so sure about that. We'll see. I say, it's better to sit down in person while there are one or two witnesses present. Remember, guys, men are better evaluators of objective reality than women. The only exception to that in America, because all the hormones are twisted, that's why in the men, all the American men are the worst in the soccer internationally, but the women, the U.S. women are like so far ahead of all the other nations' women that you just don't understand how it all works until you really understand how it works. So we'll just say it that way. Okay? Now, best that we do it that way in person, witnesses present, matters are fully discussed, and we reach agreements. Okay. I am above all very fair. If you provide something that constitutes a specific denial, I will then, at the very least, include the fact in those videos. I'll do something, I'll do it fair. I'll include the fact you deny the truth of what I'm saying. That you say it's not true. So anyone who's looking objectively, they find it on the internet, and no one's found it yet. There's like 2 views on some of these videos. And they're both her, they're both me. It's nothing. Idiot, you're fighting for nothing. You're only stomping on the ego and the dignity of a person. You think God likes it, or God wants to fucking crush your soul for that? Punish, punish, punish. Justice, please. Hurt those people. Yes. Make sure they have suffering for doing wrong must be connected with ouch. Only ouch gets you to go, oh, gotta do better, duh. Understand? 7, worst of all is your demeanor. Are you kidding me? That's exactly my point. The demeanor isn't working. Let me tell you a little story real quick. I think this will interest some of you guys. Briefly, in one of our previous videos in this playlist series was a woman shown by the name of Dr. Shefali Tsabari. She's an author of 3 books on parenting. My mom and I have had, we have these annual rounds of severe dysfunction. It always happens in the winter time, in the cold weather. You know, that's not a coincidence. Obviously, there's a hormonal problem that inputs the woman's brain not correctly, and she does off things when it's October or December. And then February, March, things start getting better, and spring and summers are always great. Huh? That's not a mistake. It's the same like my grandma was. So when you seasonally hate your son and get into fights with him during winter times, it's not because your son's actually a worse human being. It's because your hormones and electrical signals are off balance. If I'm telling you that, that's the clue for you to humble yourself and stop believing that your perception about reality is the correct one. When your electrical signals were being dominated by the lack of sun and input onto your serotonin levels. The lack of selenium-2 all your life from Polish soil doesn't help either. There's a correlation there. Go research it. On one of the very few places in the world that has selenium depletion in the soil is Poland. That's why all the Polish jokes and all the weird Polish vibes from people. Yeah, I'm Polish, so I get the right to shit on Polish people. It's obvious. Everybody else shits on them too. Just open your eyes and look what's there. Now, don't get me wrong, there's super positives, and I'm very well acutely aware of what they are. I'm proud of the positives. There's huge negatives, too. The women, particular, in my opinion. You see, selenium has a lot to do with serotonin regulation. And serotonin is what makes a woman a woman. You see that? Any of your things are off, but particularly serotonin and GABA. The offset effect is that your dopamine with respect to your serotonin and GABA is excessively strong, and you become psychopathic-like, narcissistic-like. But I think everybody ethnically in Poland has a cluster B personality disorder. I've never met a normal Polish person. Haven't seen it. And I know. See, I'm only half Polish, so the beauty is I got half good genetics. Well, they're all good genetics. Maybe the interplay is the real magic. That's where it happens, okay? But you get leveled out. You get a lot of good different sources here and there, all right? So, Polish enough to see it for what it is, and not Polish enough to see it for what it is. You get me? Sometimes when you're in this stinky shit, so much so that it's soaked into your own self, you can no longer smell the stinky shit for what it is. It's like homeless people that can't smell themselves. Everybody can smell you. That's exactly what the issue with Polish people is like. None of you could see what's wrong with you all, except people who are less you than you are. Then we'll see it. and will talk about it to your face, to you. I'm trying to help you understand. Now you'll never understand. Hopeless almost. Get your selenium levels up. Get your serotonin up. You're doing better in the summers because you have more sun. But it's a lot of problems. Okay? No offense to the ethnic thing as a whole, but because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Okay, supposedly, if you're value-minded people anyway, nothing about you can excuse you from what you're supposed to be doing. All of us are human beings. Guess what that means? It means no matter who you are, what you are, you have a responsibility because you have the cognitos, the fucking logic, functioning brain. Animals don't have it to the level we have it. Stop, get up, attain self-awareness, and choose differently. Choose differently. You know how to read? Open the good book. Look where it says what to do in this specific situation. Stop thinking you know better. Say God knows better. Conform to the will of God. Do his instruction. Now you're good. Beautiful. Blessings come naturally. That easy. So it doesn't matter if you're Polish or not Polish. Selenium and serotonin or not selenium and serotonin. Seasonal affective disorder or not seasonal affective disorder. Early onset Alzheimer's or not early onset Alzheimer's. Although the last one actually is enough of a genuine cause of concern that by some point you need to have there's a true special case. Then you can't hold fully Alzheimer's like and dementia like people in guilt. I'm of the opinion that my mom's at least a third of the way there on the spectrum line of dementia. Other people agree too. I'm not the only one saying it. Therefore, there's corroboration on that apparent fact, constituting something that tends towards the truth of that matter. However, it's not enough so, and she denies it. Good. Deny it, that means you're more responsible then. I like that too. See, you don't get to have an out here. Either you're a responsible parent or you're mentally sick. Which one is it? Because right now I see you might be mentally sick, but you're definitely not responsible. But not see, nothing's clicking here. So that doesn't work either. But the answers are in here somewhere. And when you put third parties and begin to publicize things in an objective way, the answers always naturally out themselves too. So don't worry about that. Next, we continue on the demeanor. As I said, many women watching this are like, yeah, you see the son's demeanor is overly strict. And then the mother's demeanor, of course, is overly strict. Oh, as I was saying, right, Dr. Shefali Tsabari. So we have these, my mom and I have had these annual swings. Well, a few years ago, on one of our earlier annual swings, but that was one of the first times that it got as bad as it did. It woke me up, and this is the first time I began to process, like, wait a minute. My mom isn't as cool and as perfect as I thought she was. For most of my pre-coma, pre-research chemical-filled life, I was actually blind to the fact that there was abuse going on. And once I woke up, then you start seeing everything for what it is. Well, if you're in an insane world, you're crazy. Not really, though. And a lot of people say, dude, you're right on a lot of things. Well, good. After a particular set of dysfunctions, which I'll detail more in another video soon for sure, I said, Mom, you got to pay. I never thought I'd ever have to hold you to have to apologize and atone for mistakes. It really surprised me that I even had to be at that level. But I'm like, damn, my mom is fucking up. My mom's not being correct to people, to me. What? What the fuck? Why? But never, it doesn't matter why. If you're doing wrong, you're doing wrong. So eventually she said, okay, look, I agree maybe some things weren't excellently done. I'm like, yeah. All right, so here's the atonement. Here's 15 or 20 books on parenting written by all the experts in the field. Your homework's to read each one. Over a period of 6 to 9 months, you're reading one book every 2 weeks, and it's like freaking 15 plus books stacked back to back or more. Or 20 books, I think it was actually. was a 6 to 9 month program. It was like she took on a super advanced college course, the equivalent of. So she read 20 books on how to be a good mom to your son. You think that if you took on a program to get 20 books worth of information from all the leading authors in the field on how to treat your son correctly in an adult son and mother dynamic, that you would permanently be grown and adjusted with plasticity to the new way of being? Now, younger people can do this. See, for me, I make a mistake. You tell me once is a mistake and is acknowledged, that is a mistake. It never happens again. That's full plasticity working correctly. Immediate change, permanent, doesn't have to be said again. But with this particular person, 20 books later, they're still making the same mistakes. So therefore, something's wrong. Well, let me tell you about one of the authors of that book. Of 3 of the books that she read is Dr. Shefali Tsabari, that Indian woman you saw in one of the previous compilation videos, very briefly. Well, more of her is included in another playlist I did a year ago when last year's seasonal disorder kicked in. And the period of about September through, like January was all just tumultuous. Okay? So my girlfriend was involved at that time. At first, she wasn't sure what to do. Very quickly, she saw who was the wrong one. She sided with me, like very emphatically, and was saying, Barbara, to my mom, what the hell are you doing? This doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even make sense. My mom was on the phone with her going, I have to draw the line in the sand. She's like, what line? What are you talking about? That's not normal talking. If you're a mom about your own son, you're not here to draw lines in sand. You're here to hug them, moron. What are you doing? So the demeanor is off. Well, after my mom finished those 24 books about a couple of years ago, a few years ago now, we capped it off, symbolically said we're going to cap it off with a therapy session, virtually done, with the author of that book, Shefali Tsabari. We're going to have a session with her to talk about the issues. Well, we did a session with her. Let me tell you guys how it went. I'm sitting with my mom. We were introduced to the author. She was, on the Oprah show, and she's worldwide known and all this. We're going to talk to her. Pretty cool. Kind of expensive, actually. Very expensive for us, but we paid. Because symbolically, at least, we felt it was worth it. So, well, I got some very interesting feedback that today further develops my understanding of, and further acknowledges the truth that I'm finding to be about the dysfunction between this particular mother and son dynamic. She is an expert. She watches parents, mothers and sons, interacting with each other all day, every day, for years and years and years. She started becoming famous about 10 years ago, and hell, since then, she's had another 10 years of experience. However long she was practicing back then, and she became only more of an expert over time. And she brought her expertise to the table, sits down and just looks at us, looks at our body language. Remember, guys, you look at the body language, you learn 95% of what you need to know about any given situation. So she's watching the body language. What is one of the first things that she sees? First of all, one of the first things she sees is that she hears me talking, and she realizes early on that I'm not like a regular clueless young person. I'm talking and talking. I've been about a minute and a half flat. She's like, dude, you guy here, yo, you're a superstar. I see you. I acknowledge you. The way you're talking, you're going to be like close to my level soon if you do the right things. You're very good. You're phenomenal, actually, young guy. Credit to you right there. That's amazing. Things you're saying the first minute and a half, I'm like, yo, you're a real I'm like, thank you. Thank you. Then my mom chimes in with this and that, and she's there, and Dr. Tsubari's watching how my mom's interacting, not just with her, with the doctor, but how she's interacting with me. Her body language towards me. How she's treating me. Well, when you're sick, you don't know you're sick. You can't see how different you are from everybody else. You have no clue how vast the differential is between where you are and where you're supposed to be. It's like with crazy people. I had one person who I knew close to me. He was a nut all his life. ADHD, issues, getting charged with felonies when he was, a minor. And, today, of course, he works as a prison guard. Yeah? Well, that particular one used to hang around me a little more when we were younger. I sort of put up with him, and I don't know why. As time went on, it only showed that his character was poorer and poorer, in my opinion. And that's the opinion that I have about that. But regardless, I'm not going to get into the details of things that happened there, but I'll say this. That when he was doing nutty things at some party we went to once, and he continued to do nutty things, and I'm saying, Michael, you can, as an older brother type to him. Oh, I said his name? Whoops. Whatever. I said, hey, listen, you're doing a bunch of, you're kind of not right with this, calm down with that, ease up with that. Again, older brother, 3 years older than him. Now, today we're all in our 30s, so, it's just, this doesn't even fit anymore to do that. But, when he's 18 and I'm 21, even, that's a big difference still, You're supposed to learn respect and respect the people 3 years older than you, and don't be an idiot, all right? But he always violated the pecking order and just completely disregarded everything. All his life was in a weird kind of haze, Okay. Well, at that point in time, that's just when cell phones started to have video cameras on them. Okay, so, pixelated videos, but for the first time, people who weren't active photographers could take a video of something. Interesting time in society now. Well, I'm like, all right, I don't usually just record people, but I'm like, oh my God, look at Michael going on there again. All my friends are like, oh, there's Michael again. I'm like, all right, I'm going to have to record this guy for just a minute here. Just show him how he's being. Okay, there he goes. Okay, stop recording. And it continues on. I'm like, whatever. I'm doing some work. We're at some event with tables or something. Now, we're coming back. He's on the train with me. He's doing his thing. I'm like, Michael, here's what you were doing that was, you're making me look bad because I brought you to this event and then people are concerned about you. That reflects on me poorly. No concept of this, just, Okay. Michael, you got to wake up, brother, because you're doing this and this and that, and I'm worried about you. Okay. Tell you what, next step. Here's how to get this kid who I knew since he was 5 years old out of the daze. Hey, brother, I have a video of you. What? Yeah, dude. Do you know what you look like to other people? Just mindless, Polish, of course. Mindless, just, you never wake up from the daze until you are shown the video of you, how you look like. When he watched that, I've never seen a more sobering expression just wash over somebody's face. I think this was the first time in his life that he realized that actually something might be wrong with him. Possibly, because actually that was the last time, maybe I had a life-altering effect on him. That was the last time I've ever seen his free, uninhibited, authentic self. Because shortly after that, I started watching him change very rapidly with like fake mask layers that would get progressively more fake and complex. So I don't even know if it worked out so great for him, because now he's a very, you know, the mask layers have hardened and melted onto his face, metaphorically speaking. So yeah, but you could see it's a mask. It's like seeing someone with bad facial surgery, cosmetic surgery that went wrong. Like that's his personality now. Like damn, I don't know if the freer version of you was better or this mask you. Neither of them are so great. But fuck. Regardless of what choices he made afterwards, since then, he's got to take responsibility. But at the end of the day, all of us we should be doing the right things with ourselves. Well, whatever the hell happened, he saw how he looked like. It just stunned him. I've never seen him stop talking, but that train ride, the rest of it, he stopped talking, and he had like humiliation. This was somebody who was almost impossible to have humiliation. What I'm saying is that people who are in the dysfunction can't see themselves until they see themselves from an objective point of view. With technology today in this age is the first time you can recreate someone's objective appearance back to themselves. Is the first time. But everybody else who's looking at you can see you for what you are. So this Dr. Shefali Tsabari is sitting there watching how my mom is acting towards me. And literally, doctor stops talking, and she's just watching. She's just watching. And my mom's saying something. I can't remember what she said, but it was some kind of like complaint, and it was in this like disgusted, sassy tone. It was like, but I don't really like my son is like, let's talk this, that is not that. Man, there's something like, I don't even know what the fuck it was. It doesn't matter what the words were. What matters is the tone, the attitude, and the vibrational emanation that was coming out from her nervous system. Well, the doctor saw it too. She saw it even better and called it out in a way that I yet at that time didn't even have the vocabulary to single out. Why, really? Because I was still gaslit at that point in time to believe that abusive, non-normal behavior thrown at me is normal. So my expectation of life is that, that's how people are supposed to treat me like shit, right? So what do I attract vibrationally? More people who treat me like shit. It's got to end already sometime. So what's the formula to end it? You finally rebuke it, you process the wrongdoers out, and then vibrationally the programming changes. That's why we rebuke wrongdoers, guys. It's to protect yourselves and the bad karma. So the doctor's looking at her, and she literally stops, and she's like, okay, hold on. Lady, hold on. Stop right there. You see, what you just did right there, and I was looking like, what, huh? She's like, yeah, do you see how when you're talking about your son, like, stop here for a second. When you're talking about your own son, that's him right there. And I already said a couple moments ago, I just said he's a superstar. This guy's a champ. Yeah, I'm a lady who just met him. You're his fucking mother. If I'm giving him status and giving him like champ cred, you're treating him like he's a completely different person than the person who I'm treating him as. You're treating him worse. All right? She didn't say it in exactly those words, but that's basically the information is being output by her evaluation right there in that point in time. Because Dr. Tsabari continues on and states that, lady, the thing that I saw that fucking blows my mind is when you kind of looked at him, the way you looked at him, I've never seen that before. That's fucking, that's the most concerning thing I've seen here. You don't even look at your son the way a mother looks at her son, always will normally look at her own son. And as soon as this doctor said that, I never had it. That was worth the $700 we spent for that half-hour talk, okay? Or whatever it was, a half an hour, an hour talk. That was worth it. Because as soon as she said that sentence, it's like my brain lit up, and I was like, ding, 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 ding. Like, yes, like that is correct information. Wow, that someone just points it out like that. It's like, bingo. And I'm like, yeah. My mom's like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? All right, a psychopathic lizard doesn't understand it's a psychopathic lizard. It just thinks, it just does things. It just acts like a lizard. In a land of mammals where mammals are hugging each other and giving warmth, and how are you? How are you? The lizard's just like, they're not doing listening to me. Trying to seek their teeth into people and things. And acting all fucked up. You know what this doctor did? She abandoned her course and changed her advice up completely. Whereas she was supposed to be coaching us, no, she was such an expert that she realized that she was so expert to know that some cases aren't even fixable. You know what she said? Kid, your mom's saying that she wants to help out with some money with this and that. Here's what I'll tell you, actually. I'm going to change it up and just tell you this. For you in particular, in your situation, just from what I've seen, the way your mom looks at you, yeah, take the money and fucking run. Take the fucking money and run as fast as you can. That's the best thing for you. Don't worry about resolving with your mom. Not this one here. She said it. She saw everything she needed to see from the way she looked at me. And my mom was sitting there clueless going, what do you mean? What is talking about? After the session, she was like, why did she say that? Why is she saying why I look at you? I don't understand what was wrong with how I look at you. I'm looking at her. She was still looking at me the same sick way. But because she did that to me my whole life, I thought it was normal. Actually, if I ever dated a woman who looked at me like that, I would run. I'd say, never my girlfriend. I'm running away. I'll never date you again. It's true. There's zero love in her eyes for me. And eyes are the window to the soul. And the love that a person has for you, you see it in their eyes. Mom looked at me with like contempt always. Always. And let me say, there's only one person in my life who ever gave me weird hugs that don't have the full hug behind them from your heart into them, is my own mother. And she never gave me a full normal hug once in my life. So you figure out why 30 years later it unraveled to this kind of nightmare. Because the problem started with the mother's lack of love for her son. But it's, mom, it's your job to love. And if you're not loving your son correctly, that's not his fault. You're the problem. And anything that naturally stems as a natural consequence from that lack of love, aka all of this that you see here today, lady, you're the one responsible for this. Because you didn't love your son correctly from the beginning. That's a you problem. There's nothing he could do to fix that for you. That's the big bingo of this video session, the big aha moment. There's nothing the son can do to fix that for you. You have to go and be more of yourself and access your neural framework better to learn how to love a human being. In fact, I'll even tell you this, because I've turned to dozens of experts online who've said all the things. But you know what? I think that particular day of coaching sessions that doctor was doing, when she saw me and the mom and the way she looked at me, I think that experience lasted in that Dr. Shefali Sabari's mind. It lasted. She remembered that. She saw that, and it like left an imprint in her own mind about how to develop more of a refinement for her further coaching, and she's seen the different forms of what problems look like. And she saw there's a situation out there in New York and Brooklyn, and that mother, the way she looked at her son. So she remembered, she said, these problems can start with in so many ways, and one of those ways is You could see the problem even when it's a mother looking at her son the wrong way. And you know what's so funny? She did remember that, and she mentioned something in one of her more recent videos that have happened. Most of her videos are older videos before my mom and I had a session with her. But since that time, a doctor something very interesting posted up.
Every parent dreads the day that their kid says, I hate you. Here's the thing. Your kid is not really hating you. They are hating how they feel in that moment. They're hating an idea that you're proposing that clashes with their way of doing things. They're hating how this conflict is making them feel. They're hating the way you're looking at them, perhaps.
Just wow. Just wow. Okay? Thanks for that nod, Dr. Shefali Sabari. Still thinking about me even years later, and that impression that session left on her mind, that, look, even how you're looking at your kid is the problem. It all conveys the same energy towards them, that you're not accepting of them. That's your fault. You're bad when you don't accept your children. Period. And thus I come back around full circle. 7. Worst of all is your demeanor, the substance that's underlying the form. Are you kidding me? This is how you respond to me? Your response and the spirit behind it is what's not appropriate, given the position you're in and what you're being accused of. 8. Leave the card beside my door. 9. As for additional points of concern, it is regarding the remainder of the videos. You should understand one important thing. Regardless of the facts, there's also, besides this, the remainder of the videos that I still want to put up. I tell you, much more important than and I go on to just simply say, there's some videos I put up that discusses the facts, but more important than that is me discussing what the correct morality is, what the correct way a mother's supposed to be. And I turn to 50 plus experts in a 4 or 5 part series of compilations that discuss this, and that's pretty much what I write about. And here I just say, so just make sure to watch the videos in the correct order, not skipping around back and forth. And this video is part of that rebuke series too. It'll be uploaded onto here, onto this series, this playlist as well. So 8 points to consider above to respond properly. Ask you again, specify what facts you say I've claimed falsely. Be careful. If you falsely accuse me in a way that's not actually true in the eyes of God, you're going to have a karmic problem. I here now accuse you of violating God's commandment of agreeing with your plaintiff quickly. See that? That's right. So I go on furthermore. I have authority as the eldest male of this family. This authority is also God recognized and supported. That is, a grown male has authority, period. You're not superior as a mother. You're just supposed to be honored, but actually that's a hidden commandment to the mother to always make sure that they remain honorable, which when you're a female, honor looks like submitting correctly. I'm not kidding. And then you go to the Old Testament and you see who is honored? A gracious woman. What's grace is giving freely. What's giving freely? It's yin energy. You need to understand things correctly. But it tells you in the instruction in the same Old Testament there what makes women honorable. So be the honorable quality so that you are honored. You're doing the opposite. That's why you keep expecting that honor is going to come your way when you do the opposite programming, opposite polarity. But God prevents you will never naturally attain honor. With my powerful interpretive mind, I've declared this as the head of my family here, and I am the self-proclaimed head of this family at this point. I'm telling you that that's the correct law. Now you either adhere to it or you naturally accrue problems in this life. How much pain till the lizard brain learns. Don't get it? Do you learn when 10,000 or 100,000 people watch these videos? Or do you learn when you sit down with my friends because we're all talking about what the hell you're doing? When do you finally hang your head in shame? My role is to be the representative of the Godhead within this family. However, you yourself there have a big problem. When I speak to declare what is correct, moral, godly, and religious law, what the correct law, commandment, or teaching is, you have a very big issue where you don't acknowledge the merits of what I say. I've had situations where I would say what the truth is. My mom says, "Oh, I don't understand." Huh? Sarah, my old girlfriend from before, would say the same thing to my mom. She would stop. She's like, "Oh, wow." She's like, "Stop the presses." No, Sarah, that's so amazing. She's like years younger than me. Sarah, so amazing. How you said something very smart. Wow. How do you do that? I need to learn more from you, Sarah. What do you do? She was like, "What the fuck? Oh, lady, yeah, isn't it kind of obvious? Well, what the hell? At least that's what I figured out. And John's been saying a lot of that too. I got a lot of this from him." She's like, "Sarah's so smart. Oh, we will talk later." My mom leaves. Sarah's like, "What the fucking hell was that?" I've never had that happen. That is a 60-year-old woman who is completely clueless. I've never seen anything like that in my life. I'm like, "Yeah. What the hell? You were just saying exactly what I said." She's like, "I know. That was so crazy. That's so bizarre. You were saying the same thing earlier and she was completely disregarding you. You're her son. What the fuck? I was just repeating what you're saying and then she's worshiping that." I'm saying, "I'm telling you, there's something wrong." The complex in this woman's mind is, I don't honor and believe my son is high status. Even when he's acting with high status and knowledge, I'll just have a block to accept it as truth, as fact, or as powerful. Anyone else who brings, "Oh, that's amazing." My son, quiet, son. No, shoot yourself. And go through karmic pain through many reincarnations. Then eventually it'll be good enough. Because this isn't good enough for me. It's not good enough. So, wherever there is such problem, I then turn in the video moral principles for mothers and women to all biblical sources of the Bible's religious law, whatever that applicable law is. That's what a good manly Godhead representative of the Godhead does in the family unit. You see that? And in the series of compilations 1 through 4, I selectively find approximately 50 of the world's leading experts on religion, psychology, and morality, and on parenting, in order to point to these experts who all state what the correct teachings and correct ways to live are, and the correct ways to act within these kinds of situations. So, you see, even when the people are defective, number one, it's not right of you to deny my righteousness when I say, but you're going to, love it when the other person copies me, who's submitted and inferior to me in a sense in the way of learning, and she's picking things up, saying them to you, and then you go, "Oh, that's great." Yeah, and even greater is when you listen to what I'm telling you. Can you wake up already? So your abuse to your son, your children, is when you diminish their value. Why does that make you look bad? Well, you're the one who raised that person. For treating me as if I'm incompetent, which I'm not, but if you treat me like I am, that doesn't make you look better. It's not like but only a narcissist's brain thinks you look better when you put me down. No, moron. The world with big context awareness says, you're the mother of that person, so if you make him look bad, then you come down too, because you were the one responsible for watering him. So the plant's not defective. That's why you're so great. You were the plant waterer. If he's that bad, you're a very bad plant waterer, so that reflects badly on you. That's why the best women in the world glorify their sons. Anywhere you go out in public, it doesn't matter if they're actually great, but alas, the psychological input from the mother makes him great. Half of a man's greatness is because people around him told him he's great to encourage his vibrational crystallization to form the correct, powerful way to greatness. You stunted your own son's growth by putting bad shit into me. Everybody's heard of that Japanese study where people sat in front of the water, the plant, and said good things. I love you, you're great. And the plant grew really well, and you looked at the crystal structure of the water, it was like perfect. In another room, only criticizing the plant. You're not good enough, you're bad, you're this, you're that. Oh, there's a problem. Looking at the plant the way my mom looked at me. You look at the crystal structure of the water, all fucked up, chaotic. The plants were sick, they died earlier. You did it, you idiot. You will have big pain and karma for what you did. You burden me by having me to do all this shit. You give me shit. I hope every shit comes back to you. Please, God. So, if you listen to other people but you don't listen to me, first of all, you should learn to listen to me, but even when you don't, then here's the others. They'll still tell you you're wrong anyway. Oh, you listen to them now? Good. Then admit it finally and bow already, damn it. Idiots. By their own authority, I say now. You listen to them, since shamefully you don't listen to me. Not good. Now focus on 1, addressing the prior points above, 2, finishing the rebuke videos, and on and on. Honestly, and this one I added on because it came from the heart a little more at that point in time, so I added this on. Look, plus honestly, you're so stupid. You have no contextual awareness. You refuse to speak to me properly in a way that blocks functional communication, where sufficient communication is the thing required in order for a resolution to be achieved. God obligates family to always move towards peace and resolution. Well, that can't happen without addressing the issues. You don't even engage directly with your own damn adult child, 4 months plus now, in order to make it possible to even review the issues in a effective and efficient, expedient, responsibly, morally, ethically responsible way. Fucking every hour and minute you let someone go without, like every minute is torture because you dare to have disdain for me. So fuck you, stupid. You understand that? Every day of my life now is misery because you don't give enough of a shit to clean up your messes when you make them. Stop putting evil imprinting on me. A king is honored because he watches people worship him all day long. That's what makes him a king. You don't get it, idiot? Show me is powerful by making me powerful, by showing power to me and putting it at me, by honoring me. You don't dishonor me, keep power for yourself? No, that still takes power away from you because you're dishonored now in the eyes of the world. Learn from your mistakes, ugly person on the inside. Disgusting. So, this cannot happen without addressing the issues. You don't even engage directly with me. You don't realize that the reason I uploaded this was exactly so that you could review it without having to come to me, since you yourself weren't coming to me. What the hell else am I supposed to do? I've placed write a letter. This is more efficient. I've placed videos onto YouTube before. The last time when you made severe mistakes too. Every year you make severe mistakes. I talked about this seasonal aspect already. Last time I told you very clearly that if you ever made serious mistakes again, you understood that I would resume to use YouTube to just resume this manner of uploading, but for compounding the problems, because where she made mistakes before and admitted to them, the price implicitly in atonement, in correct atonement when it's done properly, in correct tshuva, is to never repeat them again. But when you repeat them again, you're double guilty. For the individual offense and for breaking on your prior representation and the thing you owed, which is the probationary obligation to refrain from the thing you already done wrong before, the underlying thread of conduct. That's the sickness. You see? Now, it was made clear over a year ago that I'd be making these videos public in such a case. This was made clear already, close to a year and a half. I am a machine. As much as I can be, I do exactly what I say, and I'm strictly fair. You knew the understanding, but you permitted yourself to bring unjustifiable offense to me anyway, and declined to make diplomacy for 3 months now at that time. Now it's 4. I have been too good to you. All this should have been posted first day after I got out of a mental hospital I was falsely placed in. Nothing unfair but what I did. Everything is consistent with the moral code. I don't break moral code. And my understanding is extremely sophisticated, but very, very accurate. So I'm the worst person to have as a problem against, because there is no winning with me. When God is on my side, there is no winning against me. You need to get it. So a day or two or so pass. Again, let's do the juncture test. Here's another fork in the road. Morally, if you're a good person, normal mother with normal programming, your neurology is balanced, and you have empathic connection to your child, what do you say? First of all, the fact that all this has happened like this, it should break you inside so much that you're saying, oh my God, I can't believe how ashamed I am that I have brought my son to such a state, that is such a horrible thing that I've done. I fucking can't believe it. Should shatter your heart and your world, and you should be like a mess. You should be crying for about a week straight, and then knocking on my door and begging to fucking apologize and to have a normal relationship with your son. There you go. That's the normal one. Every woman listening to this who's normal would be like, kind of, yeah, obvious. That part's obvious. No. So what do you see? Here's my mom's response on the Monday that followed. I will be preparing the answer for your videos for you to see how wrong you are on your charges. It will take okay. So far, just an answer to your videos to see how wrong you are. I really look forward to this, because in my high resolution, high acuity manner of processing the world and the reality of it, we have seen, me and collectively the small community of people around me that's formed over the course of the last few years, here and there, as people come in and out of my life, but one thing people don't say about me is that I get shit wrong. What a dumbly arrogant, but we've all seen the, what's that called? The Dunning-Kruger effect. Stupid people think they're the smartest, but they can't judge correctly who's the smartest, but only the smart people could judge correctly who the smart and the dumb are in the correct hierarchy. But stupid people, like objectively stupid, also get wrong their ordering and their interpretation and evaluation of who is smart and who is stupid. It's all inverted. It's all like blindness, sort of. So you hear how wrong you are on your charges. It will take a couple of weeks since I'm watching them. So is she saying that it's going to take her a couple of weeks to even be able to tell me what it is that I'm apparently saying false? Guys, if somebody accuses you of something false, do you need 2 to 3 weeks to tell them what it is that they said false? So that doesn't fully add up. A real falsehood would be pointed out in 3 seconds. You said this, that's not right. That is in 5 seconds to type that sentence out. Boom, there it is. It's easy when it's a real falsehood is easy to articulate about. There's an articulation problem here. Suspicious. Right now they are malicious. Oh, this takes an even better turn. They're malicious, and placing them on YouTube could bring you trouble. No idea how hard I'm rolling my eyes. Yeah, what are you going to do? Sue me for defamation? You think that's what will bring you respect and honor, right? I'm supposed to sue my son now. That's what God wants. Yeah. After the mother did suable things to me, remember, when I rob you, I'm going to go to the police and say, you robbed me instead. The devil is all inversion. Remember that, kids. Please. So I hope, I don't say I hope she's stupid enough to sue me, because any wrongly done thing is a shame, and I don't wish that my family and my own mother, even as dumb as she appears to be to me, goes to act in a shame. But this is nuts. You don't know the law. You don't know the law in this state. I mean, when I first thought about this, I had like 10 amazing points to say. I'm not even going to cover them all in this video, but the point is, you're trying to box with God. I'm going to use that saying in another video that was already prepared that you'll see soon after this. It's the same tendency. You're trying to bend reality to your will instead of working with reality and loving and honoring God in that way. You don't threaten implicitly your son that things I've said bring me trouble. But let's bring out one point, first of all, to just examine how hopeless this would be. First of all, any lawsuit that comes my way, if it gets dismissed based on certain grounds, I'll then countersue in a way that's going to get me money. Because false placing of lawsuits where the initial burdens aren't met as determined by a court only allows me to sue that person. So she has no idea about this. It's hopeless. It's hopeless. Dealing with people who are too dumb and reckless for their own good. It's like one of my lawyers that I knew have told me. He said, "Listen, they don't have to be smart to screw your life. It's dumb people who screw your life and theirs and everybody's. It's stupidness that fucks things up, not intelligence. Don't worry about people who are outsmarting you. The dangers are the ones who outstupid you." All right. The point I meant to make is the first element of a defamation claim is falsity. The element of falsity is not established by even a preponderance of the evidence, which one in my mother's position could not even establish, but it's the threshold or standard that's one level higher than that. It's the level of clear and convincing evidence. By no stretch of the imagination can anything that I've said be objectively shown in a courtroom by competent evidence, which is evidence that constitutes an exception to the hearsay rule. And my mom doesn't know anything about this at all. It would be literally an impossible task. It's so impossible, furthermore, that here in New York, where it's a lot harder to sustain a successful defamation case, 9 out of 10 defamation cases fail. Right? And these are cases where these are competent legal teams that believe there could be a case enough that it's worth trying. This case isn't even worth trying. But you see, it's not about what the actual merits are. Again, whether you're boxing with God himself by challenging the moral principles or boxing with smarter, more intelligent people than you, but trying to, intimidate them, it's not going to work. I get karmic power when you do wrong things against me. Because it's going to get into this particularly subtle thing, but these are one of the more closely held dynamics that you learn when you wake up from research chemical-induced comas, but you learn how the universe works. So there's certain ways to process people's wrong implemented energy in a very Wing Chun-like way that simply brings your own momentum against you in a karmic way, and I only win more when you attempt bad things against me. So I never worry. I love to just chill and kick my feet up when people misposition. It's just throwing off balance people more off balance with minimal effort, because I'm 30 steps ahead and always pre-leverage myself in ways that you don't even realize I'm doing it when I'm doing it. You have no hope. It's like you're going against an AI computer when you mess with me. You don't realize this. You can't tell it in my voice. You can't tell it when you look at my face. The cues are not there. Only my effects in reality later stun you. Then you fucking begin to have a hint. Even when I tell you this straight to your faces, you won't get it. So that's okay. I'm never worried. I laugh. You don't even know You don't even know how underprepared you are. You can't even imagine. But you look at the words here as if they're tough. Please remove them. All issues are discussed. This is a step in the right direction. And if I remove them, it'd be showing that I agree that you're right. But I have a problem with that. You see, my allegiance isn't to you, a corrupt, morally corrupt woman. My allegiance is to God. And my duty is to uphold the law. Well, I have to uphold the law fairly, everywhere, equally. So if the law says you're wrong, my moral law here, by my reckoning, shows me that you're wrong here. You don't deserve any such consideration. I'm not going to give it to you. So your lesson is to learn how you don't get favors when you don't act good to the people who you owe a good treatment to. Learn, lizard brain, learn. Don't threaten me, you idiot. Just threatening me here is an offense to me. Just for threatening me, I will be considering bringing you into legal trouble. See how that works? Good. Applause. Because you violated the law, both the civil and criminal law, I'm always a million steps ahead. I told you there is no winning against me. When you take the real-life equivalent of the limitless pill as depicted in the Bradley Cooper movie, you don't win against that guy. You don't even have the neural density to figure out how to do it. But they're always, it's the cutest thing is that they really believe they can, and they keep trying. Your instinct is to try to threaten me? Then God will curse you again. Lastly, the things I said are not malicious, because I do not have bad intent. Everything I've stated is honest testimony of the truth, as I understand/know it to be. This is not considered to be maliciousness. Just to note, twice I've asked you to provide any identification of a specific issue. Will my audience here understand and recognize now, after a third round of reply, 3 times she's failed to identify an actual wrongdoing. So therefore, she's defaulted on the matter. Yep, twice you failed to do so, now a third time. Days later, I still have no idea what you're complaining about. Do you? Do you, audience? Do you have any idea of what she's accused me of having falsely said? You guys are like, damn, dude, this far in, and we still don't know. Therefore, we probably should have known by now if this woman is serious. By the way, it's more than a couple weeks later after this date. There's been no answers provided to me. So in the future now, more than the couple weeks that she said she would take is still a 0 answer to these questions. All right, may it be noted. No winning with me when I have God code that I use as my base code. Easy, turn to God code and live. Everything else is failure coding. If you heard something that is wrong, you should have easily been able to say by now what it is, but you didn't. So, you cannot come to me and imply that I'm doing anything wrong if you refuse to point at and identify exactly what is wrong. We clearly see now, by now, this is a case after giving her the full opportunity. You cannot just say, something is false, without saying what it is. But falsely accusing me of maliciousness when I'm not malicious in my intent at all, that is wrong. Should not take you a couple weeks. You have all day, but I still gave her the couple weeks because I knew she wouldn't do it anyway. How did I know? Oh, I'm psychic? No. You see what's clear in reality, and you call it from what looks like a million miles away to everybody else, you guys who's watching. To me, it's easy. You have all day when you are not working, and even when you're working on select days that you work, because she's semi-retired now, she works less. You still have 2+ hours on the train each way. There's only about 4 hours of rebuke audio. It should take a person only 2 or 3 days to listen to that. To come across something notable, pause, write it down. Very easy. The 5 or 6 videos that are after the rebuke videos are not rebuke videos as much as they are rather an analysis and a discussion of the correct moral standards, as I talked about already before. The lesson for you at the end of the day is just this. You cannot offend people and then just get away with it by having the issues covered. If you did something wrong, you own up to it. If you are a normal person, Jesus commands, agree with your adversary, whoever accuses you of doing wrong, and do it quickly. Otherwise, guess what? Your attempted avoidance of that guilt is also a sin because it's offensive. Because you're falsely denying something that's actually true. Now, and again, she said, you are wrongdoer, and then added, and not me at all. Really? You claim complete innocence? Any person who's paid attention through this whole thing absolutely refuses to believe that you are completely free of any moral wrongdoing. The spirit of your conduct, the soul and substance of the way you're acting is itself a disgusting thing to look at. That's what makes you wrong. Your spirit is not in alignment with me. That's the core of your sin. Now, furthermore, why is it a sin? Jesus commands a person to always draw towards peace. Instead, by denying, you're acting like a debtor, quote unquote, instead of like a creditor. Both my mom and me, maybe 10, 12 years ago or more, 13 years ago, we used to listen to these Creditors series. I won't even give the full name of it, but we listened to some, philosophical / commerce oriented, legal oriented, maybe you could say sovereign citizen oriented a little bit stuff. One particular set of leaders came out and they were offering like a nice philosophy. So they said, listen, in life you have creditors and you have debtors. Creditors are people who want to help. They're giving. They're oriented towards peace. They always take responsibility. They're asking questions and not making statements all the time. They're working with you and not against you. They're honorable, not dishonorable, on and on. And debtors are the opposite. Debtors deny. Debtors complain. Debtors, want less work and more pay. Debtors want, you understand what I'm talking about. So we remember this paradigm. I'm employing it again now, years later. Listen, you're acting like a debtor instead of like a creditor. Only debtors deny, prolong, threaten, dispute, return counter-accusations, and generally prolong and frustrate the entire resolution process. Yeah. Wake up. Peace, in your case, means admitting what you are guilty of, showing that you willingly want to pay the price that's good. People, defendants deny because they don't want to pay. No. Love to pay because that's what makes you free. You're avoiding making repentance. Or peace means making repentance and atonement. Good. Well, there we are. Nothing of substance to add to this. Well, fast forward a couple weeks and more texts follow. You'll be shown soon in the upcoming set of videos.